Shout out to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. Hey guys, Spirit of the Lie here. In this overview, we're going to cover the final Chronicles Alexander civilization, rounding things out with the Puru. They represent a kingdom that put up stiff elephant-powered resistance against Alexander the Great during his invasion of India, so they receive a unique elephant unit, as well as the best archers in the new DLC. You only use the Civ in one mission during the campaign, but you play against them several times, and you can also use them in skirmish mode against the AI or online in unranked games. So let's check them out. To start with their team bonus, they and their allies have trade carts that move 15% faster. Not only is that 15% more gold over time, but also means they can outrun basically anything. Their maximum speed after caravan goes from 1.5 to 1.72 tiles per second, faster than even a hussar with husbandry at 1.65. Presumably, if you took the carts off these horses and stopped holding them back, they could even give Cobra cars a run for their money. Insane resource generation in the late game is actually a defining feature for this Civ, depending on which unique tech you pick up later on, but this bonus is already very on brand, as we'll see. Next, let's switch to their stone collection bonuses, with the first being that stone miners generate food while working. We've seen lots of resource trickle combinations, but this one in particular I have a hard time figuring out the logic behind, and it's roughly 2 food for every 3 stone, which is not a slow rate by any means. It gives Peru a truly rock-solid food economy in the mid-game, and as they say, when life gives you limestone, make limes. The second part of this bonus is that stone mines then last 30% longer. The main benefit to all this is how easy it feels to go heavy on stone during early Castle Age while still keeping up a multi-town center boom with minimal farms. It really fits a defensive playstyle, which I think works particularly well in single player. Moving on, this is also low-key a decent naval civilization with 2 relevant bonuses. The first is their fishermen and fishing ships gather from oysters 15% faster. Villagers or fishing ships on oysters are pretty comparable in gather rate to regular gold mining without upgrades, but would obviously then be strictly better than mining gold for Puru unless there's a lot of walking time involved. They then have a second water-related bonus, discounting their Lemboy ship line 10% and giving those +1 attack each time you age up. Lemboy are your only warship that don't cost gold at all, and are also the earliest one you have access to, including a free one with the first port you build. It's the Chronicles version of a scout/fire ship, and counters enemy galley and catapult ships, but is then weak against ram ships and incendiary rafts. Water play in Chronicles is a little more dynamic and complicated than usual, so it's harder to get away with just one type of unit, but whether it's early raiding of fishing ships or countering mass galleys with +2 attack by classical age, it's a solid passive bonus for an important ship type. And finally, their last bonus is their stable units automatically heal 25 HP per minute, a little over half that of a Berserk, but only when no enemies are nearby and starting in the equivalent of Castle Age. That means no help for an early scout rush, and the distance from enemies required is actually quite large. It seems to be 10 tiles from a quick test. Puru do have a few stable options in the mid-game, and as we've seen in other Chronicles civs, healing is often extra useful in campaigns, where the action tends to happen in waves. While we're at the stable though, you probably notice a new unique unit slotted where the Battle Elephant usually goes. It's not exactly a reskin, but at first glance might appear that way. Compared to a Battle Elephant, it has similar HP, attack, armor, and blast damage, though its version of blast damage is a bit better and more like a Cataphract than a Battle Elephant. Its cost is also a little bit tweaked, with 10 less food and 5 more gold, with again identical bonus damage against buildings, so they really look interchangeable. There are some very important hidden differences though, and first, the Puru's unique version take only half incoming bonus damage from things like pikes, while also resisting conversions, essentially having faith by default, adding 4 seconds to conversion time. Suddenly, that sounds like an overpowered and very difficult to counter Battle Elephant, but the major trade-off is they take 2 population space each. For many civilizations, that would mean running up against your pop cap quite early, and keep that in mind as we talk about the unique techs and how useful it might be if you could somehow get away with having fewer but more productive villagers in the late game. Their other unique unit is at the castle, and let's take a look at that next with their Pattiyodha Longbowmen. Right off the bat, there's the potential to get the wrong idea here by focusing on the word longbow. Compared to the regular archer line, the unique unit has a lower gold and higher wood cost, which is theoretically more sustainable in the late game. They then have better HP and more base attack, but 1 less range, so right away that Longbowman name is kind of misleading. The unit then has 2 fairly unique qualities. The first is a hidden +4 against elephants, helping in mirror matches, or I suppose if you were to crossplay with regular civilizations. The other quirky aspect of the unit is they gain +3 attack when there's an enemy within 3 tiles, which increases to +4 attack when they're elite. Essentially, they hit harder when they're threatened, but also means you aren't making full use of them unless you're putting them somewhat in harm's way and getting close to enemies. It's a peculiar incentive for an archer to want to be in the middle of the action. Further reinforcing that idea of wanting to be close to enemies, they have incredibly low 40% accuracy, growing to 60% when elite, and Puru are also lacking thumb ring, so that's something you can't address with the technology. Remember, accuracy does go up as you get close to something you're firing at, and for a unit with longbow in the name, it really feels like everything here pushes you to use them at medium to short range, between having one less range than archers, increasing their accuracy, and straight up gaining more attack in that situation. Obviously, you can just go with regular archers if this is all too much, but the unit does feel quite strong, and I would encourage using it, especially with how easy it is to create forts as Puru and the unit's low gold cost. Speaking of all those forts or castles though, they also have a relevant unique tech for your longbows, and let's look at those options now. Starting in Classical Age, your first option improves your longbow's point blank attack by an extra +1. I would definitely get Bodkin Arrow first, but if you're making a lot of their longbows, then this tech is a no-brainer. The other option is to increase the trample damage and range of the trample effect from your unique battle elephants. Considering their innate resistance to bonus damage, this makes them even more difficult to overwhelm with infantry. Essentially, whichever unique unit you plan to use more, you can double down on it with a unique tech. In Imperial Age, you can then either massively boost your economy or the strength of your forts. The first option, called Vedic Teachings, gives you a 2% global villager work rate boost for each university tech you pick up, giving you a maximum of +18% global work rate if you get all 9 available techs. Even factoring in walking time, this is over triple the Romans' eco bonus, though you have to be a little careful in how you think about this one. To get that unique tech plus pay for every university tech, that's 5,600 resources in total. Obviously, you'll get other use out of many of those techs, and the ability to get the same resources on fewer villagers is a very nice combo with your 2 population space elephants, but this still isn't a small investment. The other option lets you upgrade your forts with defensive or offensive emplacements. You unlock the ability with this tech, and then at each fort can spend a bit of wood and stone to add either 1500 HP and +2 million pierce armor, or +1 range and +3 attack, or do both at the same fort, with some visual changes associated with each upgrade, like spikes at the base and extra murder holes. Personally, I like the global benefit of villagers gathering more, but the nice thing is you can decide which suits your current situation and playstyle better. So that's the unique unit and techs. Puru really seem to revolve around their elephants and unique archer, which is an expensive combo and maybe a little weak to mass siege, but which can handle infantry, archers, and even cavalry just fine for the most part, as well as have some punch against buildings. Of course, as always, to get a better sense of their wider options, we should peruse their tech tree, starting with the archers. Of the Alexander DLC civs, they definitely have the best options here, even if missing thumb ring is a bit painful. Their cavalry archers are also missing bloodlines, so I don't like that option as much, albeit their pop efficiency is useful in campaigns at times. The main thing is the archery range gives you the archer line if you prefer it to their longbow, and the skirmisher also has a role to deal with mass spear units. The longbow is the main thing that makes Puru feel like an archer civ though, and you actually don't have to build an archery range at all to fully upgrade them, since there's nothing for them there to pick up. Next up for the infantry, given how good infantry was for the other 2 Alexander DLC civs, maybe unsurprisingly, you're heavily encouraged not to use this building all that much. You have the early to mid-game options and guardsmen as your pikeman equivalent, but are meant to move on from this building by the late game. Moving on to cavalry, the most interesting feature here is the unique elephant unit negating half of incoming bonus damage and resisting conversion. Given your lack of infantry, it's nice to have such a tanky unit to soak up damage. And remember, everything here automatically heals when enemy units are more than 10 tiles away, which can easily make up for lacking bloodlines. Next up for their siege, it's a very sparse tech tree, though with the armored and siege elephant adding a bit of flavor. The scorpion is a nice option against enemy spears, and despite how bad all of this looks, I'd actually say you have most of what you need. The elephant unit at your stable already has some anti-building bonus damage, and of course you have your reskinned trebuchets for enemy forts. Looking quickly at the navy, you're missing shipwright and the onager ship, but your Lembos line is extra strong and something you can build around. I'm still a bit in the spam everything phase of understanding water maps and chronicles, but the fact Lemboi don't require gold makes that a clearly useful unit to have be top tier. As for the academy, this is an extra important building, as it's potentially pumping up your villagers after a unique tech. That aside, you still have just about every option you'd want, except Siege Engineers, being a slightly awkward gap for your Scorpions in particular. The stone bonuses definitely have to be seen as a defensive boost, synergizing nicely here as well. And finally, for the Temple, they're missing Heresy for their elephants, Sanctity for the plus 15 Priestess HP, and Fervor for the movement speed. This civ will run into monks more often than they'll use them, but you at least have the option to convert Siege and the plus 3 range when doing so with the tech Haruspicy. Converting enemy onagers trying to mow down your archers and elephants is definitely an option to keep in mind. That's the Puru, which even after looking at their tech tree, still come back to their unique units. While a mix of decent archery range options with self-healing like Cavalry or Knights may sound solid, it's really the high damage short-range longbows and superpowered Sicilian battle elephants that jump out. The civ starts a bit slow out of the gate, so I'm not sure they'd be all that strong in your standard ranked Arabia game, but for a single player setting where you can fully boom, they have a lot of potential to steamroll. Elephants that take up 2 pop space are also great for game performance if you have a lower end computer and you're used to late games at max pop, turning things into a choppy mess. Then again, there might be other ways to improve your PC performance, and why not bring it into my new computer shop, Spirit of the Lag, where we'll take a look at getting your AoE2 games running smoother. You can book an appointment on a website I made with this video's sponsor, Squarespace. Squarespace is the all-in-one website platform for entrepreneurs to stand out and succeed online. Whether you're just starting or managing a growing brand, Squarespace makes it easy to create a great-looking website, engage with your audience, and then sell anything from products to content to time, all in one place. Using either their pre-made templates or Squarespace's AI-enhanced website builder, you can create a fully customized website to suit your needs. It's perfect for building an online presence for a physical business or starting an online store using their built-in tools for inventory and shipping, with plenty of analytics to give you insight about your website's traffic and sales. Go to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/spiritofthelaw to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. So that's a look at the Puru, wrapping up the new Alexander civilizations and probably the coverage of that DLC on the channel. I assume you have it if you're watching this video, but if not, you should definitely check it out. And I recently uploaded an interview with some of its developers who shared a lot of interesting behind-the-scenes stuff about making it, which I'd also recommend. That'll do it for this one though. Thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you next time.